Hi, it's Graham Healy from Rise Up Australia, Brisbane 2025.com. Now, here's a 10-point plan, and that's a plan that I've had for many years. And if I run as an independent in the Senate in the next election, there's no way in the world that Albanese will go full term. I believe he'll be kicked out of government very shortly, probably by May next year. Now, in that, there'll be a double dissolution and a referendum on free speech. So I'll just go through these 10 points. Number one, align with Judeo-Christian values. Now, Australia was based on Judeo-Christian values. Worldwide, it's the only way to have true prosperity. In other words, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Think of the other person first, the golden rule and everything like that. Any other religious system doesn't lead to success, especially the so-called religion of peace, which we've got to be very careful with that element in Australia at the moment, especially all those marches across the bridge with Free Palestine, which equals Hamas supporters. Just unreal. It shouldn't be happening in Australia. Number two, rebuild Australian sovereignty. Now, at the moment, we've got the weakest government and the most woke government we've ever had, and they are destroying Australia at a rapid rate of knots. We've got to rebuild our sovereignty. What does that mean? We can exist without having to rely on external other nations, especially China, especially the communist ones. It's okay having a relationship with USA and Israel for our benefit. USA with all the pros and cons there, especially under Donald Trump, and Israel, of course, would have to be not only the only democracy in the Middle East, but there's biblical reasons why we should have our alliances with Israel, apart from them being an ally until the idiots who are in charge now, i.e. Albanese, et al., has set a big rift in that area, which is not on. Number three, build the Bradford Irrigation Scheme. That's the massive irrigation scheme to the central part of Australia. It'll turn the central part of Australia into a Garden of Eden. We will then supply Southeast Asia with food and will be the food bowl for Southeast Asia. Very possible. We can do this in about 5 years with the right people behind it. Number four, defund renewables immediately. These renewables are just a scam. They are a racket set up by multinational companies and endorsed by, the idiots we've got in charge of the government at the moment. Basically, the only people making money out of it are the multinationals, and the taxpayers are supporting, through subsidies, these non-profitable entities. And apart from that, they wreck good farmland, and they make the whole demographic of Australia look like an eyesore. We don't want that here. We don't need it. No way do we need it. As a matter of fact, the Israelis are now got ways of producing electricity out of water flow. So that's a good thing to keep in the back of the mind. Number five, ban abortions non-medical. So in other words, just abortion on demand, it should be illegal. And the other thing is that, basically abortion, just because they feel like it, is murder. So that is a big issue, and we should not be, especially full-term abortions, because someone just doesn't want to have the child, they can be easily adopted out. Murdering of children, both biblically and morally, is wrong, must be stopped. Referendum on free speech. So Australia hasn't got free speech at the moment. You've got a communist government in the Albanese and Greens combination that are trying to restrict every movement that you have. They're trying to, if you are doing anything on Facebook, they're trying to control everything you say, everything you do, everything, you control your breathing just about. So that is communism, whether you know it or not. That is the first sign of communism, and you can have a look at my other video on that about liberalism, socialism and communism. Now, a referendum referendum on free speech. Yes, we've got that one. Number 6. Number 7 is a royal commission into the pandemic. You know, that whole situation regarding COVID was basically you're being gaslit. I've got a med science degree, and I've associated with all the people who actually know what they're talking about. And the people who didn't know what they were talking about, the Australian government, the chief medical officers and what have you, none of those people really knew what they were talking about. Okay, now, and a royal commission that can jail the offenders accordingly. Basically, you were forced into an experimental drug that was never been used for a vaccine ever before and caused a hell of a lot of damage to people, myocarditis, you know, and various other, you know, blood clots, thrombosis, strokes, you name it. And that was caused by a replicating spike protein, which is just insane, the mechanism that they forced on people. You had no choice. So that one has got to, you know, there's criminal intent in all of that. And, you know, people have been killed and damaged, literally hundreds of thousands of people across Australia, even millions. So about a third of the patients of doctors were damaged by that jab that was never safe and it was never effective. Now, number 8, aligned policy with Donald Trump. You know, at the moment, we're doing the exact opposite. With Albanese and his communist government, they are communists. They're beyond socialists. They are communists, aligning with China like you wouldn't believe. We've got to align with Donald Trump's policies. I mean, Donald Trump's turning America around into a positive direction, where Australia's going the exact opposite. Normally, Australia's about 6 months time lag behind the USA. That 6 months is up, and suddenly some of the Liberals and Nationals are growing a spine and standing up to the system. And hey, guess what? They've stood up against net zero, but that's not good enough. They've got to also get rid of the Paris Agreement, which is the same thing as net zero. Now, number 9, a USA naval base at Darwin. Now, how do you secure the South Pacific? You establish Darwin as a number 1 military naval base, you know, especially with nuclear submarines from the USA. So what I envisaged was that Darwin was basically like another Pearl Harbor. So you've got protection from Indonesia and the South China Sea, and you can protect Papua New Guinea and all the South Pacific Islands and New Zealand. The pivotal point is Darwin in national security. That must happen. Okay, now 10 is make Australia cash flow positive. Now, cash flow positive, we were cash flow positive in the 70s until Bob Hawke and Keating decided to open the economy to the international cartels, where basically these, you know, the cash flow or the manufacturing and everything else was subcontracted overseas, and accordingly they shut down all our internal industries, and they've made Australia dependent on, you know, imports, and that, you know, theoretically sounded all right to start with, but now it's really devastated the economy. We're over $1 trillion in debt, and that's government debt. That's not all debt. All debt, go on to thedebtclock.com and you'll see the debt broken down. It's far bigger than 1 trillion. That's only the government debt. Okay, that's Graham Healy over and out. This is all on Rise Up Australia Brisbane 2025.com. Okay, that's as much as we're going to say on this video. I hope you also see our broadcasts and podcasts and what have you on the website. Thank you very much for listening. Have a great day.